Are we good over there, Adam? Yeah, okay.
Hello and welcome to the Pepsi Softball Center here in beautiful Whitehorse, Yukon, Canada. You're watching the 2017 WBSC Men's World Softball Championship right here on Sports Canada TV. I'm Jim Flanagan here with my broadcast colleague Chris Abbott. We're with Ballpark Broadcasting, live for 76 games in this tournament. This one is number 14 here on day 2. Featuring two of the top teams. It'll be Australia, the visitors, and the USA, the home team. Chris, you've seen both of these teams so far.
Yeah, Jim, it's an interesting matchup as Jeremy Manley gets the first pitch started. But USA with a tough 5-1 loss to Argentina last night. Australia with a relatively easy victory over India 16-0, where a lot of their starters were removed after the first inning.
It is a familiar face in the pitching circle for the USA, just a different uniform than most of us are accustomed to seeing. That is Jeremy Manley.
Yeah, and Team Australia well aware of Manley, and of course faced him as a New Zealand Black Sox back in 2013 in a classic winners bracket final, eventually won by the New Zealanders, even included a dust-up as Brad Rona ran over the catcher at home over there in Christchurch.
For Australia, the batting order, Hayden Matthews at the plate right now. James Todhunter waiting on deck. That one's fouled up and out of play, so the count will stay at 1-2. Nick Shales will hit third and play third. Lewis Weldon in left field batting cleanup. Andrew Kirkpatrick will play first. He'll be followed by Josh White, Nick Norton, Liam O'Leary, and Brendan O'Byrne in the 9 spot. We'll set the USA for you defensively in a moment. A little nubber down to Castillo. Bobbles it, comes up throwing, and the throw is offline. And Matthews aboard. We'll go to Mr. Abbott, our official scorekeeper, on that. I know what I have.
I think Kevin Castillo is going to have to get an error on that ball. It was hit towards him. Not only did he bobble it, then he threw it offline under pressure. So unfortunate for Kevin Castillo and Team USA, but the Australians and Hayden Matthews are on the base paths with nobody out.
It's a bang-bang play, but the bobble, I think, cost him on that. So Matthews aboard on the error. That will bring James Todhunter to the plate.
Todhunter, one of the best shortstops in the world, Jim, not just for Team Australia. He had a good day yesterday at the plate for Australia as well. Hard luck, couple of hard hit outs, but he's going to be a big piece of their team this week.
Grounder to third. Castillo picks it up cleanly, flips to second, over to first, and the double play erases the error.
And if you're Kevin Castillo, that is exactly what the doctor ordered. A hard hit ground ball. You have a chance to redeem yourself. And now you've got Nick Shales coming up with the bases empty.
So 5-4-3 if you're keeping score with us at home. That was Tyler Dudley down, making the turn over to Matt Palazzo at first. And Nick Shales now steps in with nobody aboard. Comes out of his shoes on a rise ball.
Nick Shales, considered one of the best players in the world, but he is carrying the team stuffed kangaroo, which is given out for Kangaroo Court, coincidentally with Team Australia. He got out twice in the same inning yesterday.
Lined into the gap in right center field. It's going to carry out of here. Home run, Nick Shales. A ball away from Shales, but good power the opposite way.
Well, it looks like Nick Shales will be able to get rid of that Kangaroo Court kangaroo he's been carrying around for the last 24 hours as he gets the Australians on the board early, and it feels especially good knowing they hit it off longtime rival Jeremy Manley.
So Australia draws first blood here in the first inning. Pretty good crowd on hand and continuing to file in. There's a couple of marquee games here tonight, Canada and Argentina. Coming up a little later in the evening, but right now, focus here. The batter, Lewis Weldon, the left fielder for Australia. Lewis from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
He started the game as designated player yesterday, Jim, and he had a single, a triple, and a double.
Swing and a miss. Rise ball up and away out of the zone. Good location by Manley. The USA defense in the outfield, Marcus Tan, Bryce Kay, and Matt Ratliff left to right. Around the infield, Kevin Castillo, Chris Heinlein, Tyler Dudley, and Matt Palazzo. Nick Mullins is the catcher, and as we said, Jeremy Manley in the circle. Ground ball to short. Heinlein picks it up and over to Palazzo for the final out. So an error erased on the double play, but Shales strikes with a home run, and Australia will take a 1-0 lead to the home half of the first. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
We also want to thank Mizuno for their support of the World Baseball Softball Confederation. Mizuno is an official supplier of the WBSC and the Men's World Championship.
Home half of the first inning we go for the USA. Their batting order. Matt Ratliff, the right fielder, will lead things off. He'll be followed by the DP, Darren Zekman. Matt Palazzo playing at first base. He'll bat third. Tyler Dudley in the cleanup spot playing second base. Kevin Castillo at third, batting fifth. Center fielder Bryce Kay. Left fielder Marcus Tan. The catcher Nick Mullins in the 8th spot. And Chris Heinlein, the shortstop, in the 9-hole. Chris, we talked about Tyler Dudley being in that cleanup spot.
Yeah, Tyler Dudley batting cleanup. He batted 5th last night. He's moved up in the order. A huge hole for Team USA. Eric Ochoa went crashing into the outfield fence last night, underwent concussion protocol testing, and also some lower body injuries as he was taken off the field, lifted off the field by Matt Palazzo and as well as the physio staff for Team USA. So as if it wasn't hard enough for the Americans with their opening schedule, now they're down one of their top batters.
First pitch in for a called strike. That one's right in the same area, just off the plate. So the count even at 1-1.
Of course, Jim, we would be remiss not to mention Adam Fulkert in the pitcher's circle for Australia, one of the top 1 or 2 in the world, depending on who you ask.
Swing and a miss, good drop ball. Bottom fell out of that one. 1-2 on Ratliff. Matt hails from Utah, up around the Salt Lake City area. Good speed, good contact hitter. Lifted into a deep right field, but going back and having room is Liam O'Leary, about 10 feet in front of that championship fence. 260 all the way around, and when you get a moment, you'll see a big blue fence behind it. It's another 30 feet or so. We saw a couple balls clear that barrier earlier today.
Yeah, we've had a few more home runs on field number 1 than we have on field number 2. This is my first game over here, and I don't know if the wind's a factor or maybe just the hitters are taking advantage of what they see.
So good contact by Ratliff, but he is erased on the fly ball. Darren Zekman, the DP, steps in from the right side for the red, white, and blue. Drop ball on the inside edge, good location.
Zekman played third base last night for the Americans. 0 for 3 in that game. He grounded out to second. Fly ball on a line to center and struck out in the 6th.
Now, Darren was one of the top hitters for the team in 2015 when this tournament was held in Saskatoon. He is one of the veteran leaders on this club. From Watsontown, Pennsylvania.
Well, number of changes to the American lineup. Kevin Castillo, not a starter last night. Bryce Kay, not a starter last night. Marcus Tan came into the game for the injured Eric Ochoa late. And Chris Heinlein making his first start as well.
Foul tip, just got a piece of it. I think a lot of that may revolve around the loss of Ochoa. He has been one of their top hitters throughout the tournaments that they played in. They were in Pennsylvania earlier in the year. They went down to Houston to do some tournament play, and he has been outstanding for them. So a big loss for the USA. Those are the opportunities for the other players to step forward front and center.
Well, Lance and I touched on it last night in the U.S.-Argentina game. Nobody here of the 16 teams has a tougher start than the Americans. Argentina last night, Australia today, and the host Canadians tomorrow.
Outside edge for a called third. Down on strikes goes Zekman. We've talked about it amongst ourselves. Would you, if you were a team, would you prefer to have that kind of schedule, play the tough ones first, or are you better off facing some weaker opponents perhaps and getting the bats going? But
there's a few schools of thought on that, but I don't think anyone wants to play the three top teams in your pool out of the gate. It's really asking a lot, because if you fall down 0-3, then you've got to count on a win over the Dominican later in the week, and you've got to then also win the games that you're supposed to win. So I don't know. I don't think I'd want all those in a row.
I would agree with you, Chris. I think sometimes you like catching a opponent, a single team, maybe before they get their bats going, but you just have a different view of yourself when you come into your third or fourth game and you're already 0-2, 0-3. It's a tough hill to climb, and you know you have to win every game from that point forward. It can be done.
Fast pitch, and like all sports, Jim, confidence, mental toughness, huge. Whoa.
Way upstairs, it's Matt Palazzo at the plate, by the way, the pride of Des Moines, Iowa.
Nick Shales, the third baseman, had to retrieve that ball. Fulkert put it up in the screen, and with Adam, you never know if that was intentional to just keep Matt on his toes or not.
2-1 pitch, two-hopper out to second, ranges to his right. Over to Kirkpatrick. Nice play by Brendan O'Byrne. And the side retired. 3 up and down quickly for the USA. We played one. No score here in Whitehorse. We'll be right back.
WBSC Men's World Championship is funded in part by the government of Yukon. Please join us in thanking our volunteer sponsor, Air North Yukon's Airlines. They offer daily flights to Vancouver as well as regular flights to Calgary, Edmonton, Kelowna, Ottawa, and Yellowknife. Visit flyairnorth.com to book all of your travel.
Top half of the second inning, 5, 6, and 7 for Australia. Andrew Kirkpatrick. He'll be followed by Josh White and Nick Norton. Liam O'Leary, if we get that far. Andrew, the tall, lanky left-hander, doubles, of course, as their other ace pitcher. Playing at first base in this one with Fulkert in the circle. Line down the left field line, deep but foul.
Kirkpatrick, through his career, known primarily as a pitcher, Jim, but he can handle the bat, and really in the last few years has turned into a premier hitter in the world. And playing at first base, him, Fulkert, Harrison Peters, nice staff for this Australian team.
Yeah, Harrison Peters very strong, so it's a solid trio for Australia. I recall an upper open tournament club level where Kirkpatrick was hurt, could not pitch, but they still kept that bat in the lineup. So most definitely, Chris, he can swing it.
Look out.
Way upstairs, purpose pitch, perhaps.
Oh, most definitely. Again, the history between Manly and the Australians. You know it's there as home plate umpire Peter Kluzinski checks down for a swing to third base umpire Mike Morrissey. They're joined by Darryl Helmer of Canada at first base, Yuri Dostal of the Czech Republic at second, and Abel Metaboje from Botswana operates the 22nd pitch clock today.
Little slow roller down to first. Palazzo will make the play easily himself. 1 out. Yeah, it was a tongue-in-cheek question about the purpose. I think you are absolutely right. Do it early, do it often. Isn't that what they say?
Well, we saw last inning Folkert put one high on Palazzo, so Manly, the game within the game. And it's a lot of fun.
Josh White, the batter for Australia. He hails from Canberra, the ACT, Australian Capital Territory. We are in the Whitehorse, the city of Whitehorse, in the Yukon Territory.
Yes, we're in the capital of the Yukon Territory today. Josh White was our ballpark broadcasting player of the game yesterday. Off the bench, had a 2-run home run and a 2-run double, 4 RBIs for Australia yesterday.
Good drop ball by Manly, but missing just in, so 2-0 the count on Josh White. White is the DP in this one. All the way back in the box, that open stance you can see. Off the plate away. So Manly in, out, up, down. Showing off the full repertoire.
Manly should have lots in the tank. He came out in the 5th last night against Argentina.
Upstairs, taken for ball 4 by White.
And just to continue on the note about Manly, he came and gave a leadoff home run to Bruno Matroni, the Australian catcher, then settled down and retired the rest of the Argentinian hitters.
That was the play that Ochoa was injured on, no? Matroni's homer?
Yes, it was. Yes, he chased it to the fence, and these are not the breakaway fences some of these outfielders are used to.
Little change up downstairs.
Josh McGovern caught for Australia yesterday. Nick Norton gets his first start of the tournament today. One thing you'll notice about these Australians, a lot of big, meaty right-handed hitters, and Norton fits the bill.
In sharp contrast to all of the lefties that we saw this morning from the Venezuela team.
How good a story is that, Jim? The fact that they are able to even field a team. They had 8 guys here for the opening ceremonies last night, and they were able to play this morning, and play they did.
In for a called strike. We talked about it. The additional players arriving this morning on a 10:37 a.m. plane, and they were scheduled to play 11:30 a.m. Wow. Mother Nature helped out a little bit with a short rain delay, and the rest is in the books by now. That would have been very costly to have to forfeit a second game, especially to Turkey, and would have changed the complexion of that pool, but here we are.
Yes, Pool B's complexion is quite different. Reminds me of the diving pools in Rio last year.
Swing and a miss. Down on strikes on the good rise ball is Norton, so 2 out in the inning. White still down at first base, and it'll be up to Liam O'Leary, the right fielder, to try and get him home.
O'Leary came on as a defensive replacement in the game yesterday. In the 9-hole here, or the 8-hole this afternoon for Australia.
O'Leary from Sydney, Australia, in New South Wales. Large piece of real estate.
We should say hello to all our fans watching in Australia right now. It's 4:41 in the afternoon here, but 9:41 in Canberra right now. So good morning to our friends in Australia. Good Sunday morning. Hope they're not all in church.
One pitch from Manly. Swing and a miss. Good rise ball away.
It's turned into a beautiful afternoon here in Whitehorse, Jim. As you mentioned, some rain delays this morning. Field number 1 here is completely on schedule because they really didn't get affected by the rain delays. It's diamond number 2 where we're behind a couple hours.
Not bad, all things considered. When we arrived in town, we looked at the weather report, and it said 100% chance of rain on Saturday, and they've hardly missed a beat here. You'll get a view of the vista beyond the center field fence from time to time when the camera pans, and the gorgeous sky full of clouds. If you remember the Microsoft Windows screensaver, our sky looks very much like that today. Gorgeous. A little roll down to Palazzo at first. He'll step on the bag for out number 3. Looked like he checked his swing, not wanting to swing, but too far committed. Side retired for Australia. No runs, no hits. A man left the walk to White. And we'll head to the home half of the second right after this.
For Team Australia in the top of the first, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. For your safety, please be aware that during the course of play, softballs can be thrown and hit into the stands. Please be careful as softballs can travel at a high rate of speed. Please do not throw the ball back onto the field of play. Find a volunteer to pass the ball to. Please join us in thanking our official suppliers, Air North, Molson Coors, Home Hardware, Whitehorse Motors, Super Safe Fence Rental, Patrick Robert's Productions, The Rush 96.1 FM, and Standard Buds Yukon. And also join us thanking our community sponsors, the City of Whitehorse, Micmac Toyota, North 60 Petro, Pizza Hut, and Total Track Yukon.
Home half of the second inning here, Australia and the USA. It'll be 4, 5, and 6. Tyler Dudley from Battle Creek, Michigan. He'll be followed by Kevin Castillo, the pride of Long Beach, California, my hometown, and Bryce Kay, the center fielder.
The LBC. You and Snoop Dogg, Jim.
Me and Snoop. High hopper. Picks up the short hop over to Kirkpatrick. Nice play by Todd Hunter.
And that is why James Todd Hunter is one of the best shortstops in the world.
He made that play look easy, and it was anything but. Picked the short hop.
Todd Hunter plays behind Folkert all year, not just with the national team, also on the club circuit, as does Nick Shald. So anything to that side of the field, Adam Folkert is quite confident in his
Here
defense.
is Kevin Castillo. First pitch in for a called strike. Kevin was one of the players for the USA in Saskatoon. Didn't see as much duty, but has played himself into a regular here for the 2017 squad.
Speaking of 2015 in Saskatoon, Folkert had a 6 2/3 inning no-hitter going. Castillo broke that up with a pinch hit, 2-out bloop single.
And there's a punchline to that story as well. Off the knee of Folkert and into left field. Castillo keeps on running, and he'll have himself a spot down at second base. Hard hit ball, looked like it caught the knee and kicked sideways of Adam Folkert.
Well, that's 2 world championships in a row that Kevin Castillo has broken up Adam Folkert's no-hitter. This one a little earlier, but nonetheless.
I'm afraid I've told that story a number of times, but the history with Castillo and Folkert in not only in 2015, but 10 years prior, in 05, Folkert and Castillo faced each other in the ISF Junior Men's World, and you guessed it, Castillo broke up a no-hitter in that one. So that makes 3. He just didn't wait 10 years to do it again.
Or to the last out of the 7th inning.
Here's the center fielder, Bryce Kay, with a chance to tie the game.
And if you get a chance with a runner in scoring position against Adam Folkert, especially at this level of tournament, it's a huge opportunity.
Castillo, a good base runner, not among the fastest on the team, but handles himself well. He heads over to third on the grounder. So Bryce Kay doing his job, moving the runner over. And the second out of the inning recorded. And that'll bring Marcus Tan up with Kevin Castillo, the potential tying run down at third now.
Huge clutch time for Marcus Tan. We've seen it from him before. He did have, I believe, 1 at-bat last night and struck out.
Swing and a miss on a rise ball. Good contact, also surprising power you'll see from him from time to time. Swing and a miss. Hard to believe, but this is actually the third WBSC ISF World Competition for Marcus Tan. Played in 09, played in Saskatoon in 2015, and now a veteran. Foul tip, just a piece of it. Marcus, another of the Californians on this USA squad. He is from up north in Union City, California.
And you can be sure Mom Debbie's got the stream on. If she's not here, I'm not sure, but I know she's always a big proponent of ballpark broadcasting.
0-2 pitch just off the plate. Folkert wanted it.
Yeah,
Norton wanted it.
The Australians making their way to the dugout, and the umpires don't like that so much. But Peter Kluzinski thought that one was down and away.
1-2 pitch. Tried to check his swing. They'll appeal it, and yes, he did, says our first base umpire, Daryl Helmer from Canada. So Castillo makes it as far as third, but Adam Folkert escapes the jam. And we'll head to the top of the third. 1-0 Australia. That on the Nick Shales home run, the difference thus far.
Official supplier of the championship, they offer Whitehorse's only covered lumberyard.
Who's that? Is she good? She really flex them delts.
I know better.
Now batting for Australia, the second baseman, number 7, Brendan O'Byrne.
Top half of the third inning here in Whitehorse. For Australia, 9-1-2, it'll be Brendan O'Byrne, Hayden Matthews, and James Todhunter. Jeremy Manley and Nick Mullins, the battery for the USA. Lifted into shallow right field, giving chase as Dudley dives. It's off the glove. Not quite able to get to that one, so Brendan O'Byrne will come back and try again.
Well, they call that new life, Jim. Dudley with an excellent effort just off the tip of his glove, and O'Byrne, who was 1 for 3 with a walk and 2 runs scored yesterday afternoon, still alive.
O'Byrne hails from Perth, Western Australia, or WA as they say. Another friend of ours, Steve Oliver, we want to say hello to out in Perth, Western Australia, listening or watching today. Former teammate of mine many years ago.
Many years ago.
One-two from Manley. In for a called third. Froze him right on the inside part under those hands. Not much O'Byrne could do with it.
No, and you're absolutely right when you say not much. You cannot swing at that pitch as much as you want to. That's a great job by Nick Mullins and even better execution from Jeremy Manley.
So back to the top of the shop we go. Hayden Matthews, the center fielder. He reached on the error over at third his first trip to the plate. Did not score on the home run by Shales, though, as Castillo redeemed himself a play or so later, turning the double play. Outfield pretty much straight away. Kay just a little bit over towards the left side of the bag. Otherwise, everybody at normal depth. 0-2 now, Manly out in front.
Sorry, Jim. There's that gorgeous shot you were talking about. The sun bursting through the clouds.
Just missing off the plate. So he came in on O'Byrne, and with the 0-2 pitch on Matthews, busted him away. Just missing. Swing and a miss, rise ball. Quick work, 2 up, 2 down, 2 strikeouts in the inning. 3 in the game thus far for Manly.
And that camera shot was a perfect example of how quickly Jeremy Manley's rise ball shoots up out of the zone. Looks good coming in, and then Nick Mullins has to reach over his head to catch it.
Well, he is crisp today. It's always nice to start with a clean slate. His work yesterday was in relief. Had the home run, but then settled in. He has been sharp thus far today. It is James Todhunter at the plate. Todhunter, another of the players from Sydney, New South Wales. Change up and a beauty.
And the crowd here in Whitehorse reacting to that with a collective ooh.
He might have swung twice on that. Way out in front.
Might need an icy hot back patch after that one.
Swing and a miss. He did it again.
Ooh, that is cheeky pitching by Manley and Mullins.
Do you throw it again?
I don't know. I'm not that good. I'm not at those guys' level. If you do, you might get caught.
Down ball in hard. We'll see. Yeah, twice as brave, thrice is perhaps not wise. He comes with a rise and it's lifted out of play. So much for my theory. Now the hard drop.
Well, James Todhunter, one of the bright young stars in the game, and he's got a personality to match it. He's always smiling around the ballpark. Had a chance to talk to him last night at the opening ceremonies, and just thrilled to be here representing his country.
1-2 pitch from Manley. Change up, just missing off the plate.
So 3 of the last 4 pitches change-ups from Manley, and you can fall in love with that too, and that can be dangerous. But he's ahead of the count, 2-2, so we'll see.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Hard grounder to third. Castillo tries to backhand it. Second error for Kevin Castillo.
That makes it tough to win games when you're giving away outs, Jim. I know nobody feels worse than Kevin Castillo right now, but twice now he's tried to stab a ball with his backhand and not come up with it. So we'll see how long Greg Leather and Denny Bruckert will go with him there on the third base, because at this level you'll see substitutions defensively after a couple of errors.
And the wrong guy for the USA to see at the plate, it's Nick Shales. He is the difference in the game so far with that home run to right center. Good hard one on the outside edge for a called strike.
Well, that's one of the things that makes Nick Shales so dangerous. He's just as liable to hit one out to right center, left center, straight down either line. He's that good.
We'll keep an eye on Todhunter with 2 out, see if he's running. Shales fouled straight back to the screen.
And he was all over that pitch from Manley, just got a little bit under it.
So the USA survived an error in the first, trying to get out of the third in a similar situation. Off to the races he goes. Throw down to second. And the USA defense does it again for them. Gets them out of the inning.
Yeah, I don't mind that play right there, starting the runner. You've got Shales down 0-2 in the count. Worst case scenario, he comes back and is up. But I'm not. Was that called a caught stealing or a strikeout? I'm not even sure.
I thought it was the caught stealing. I had it that way. Side retired for Australia. We'll head to the third. Be right back.
Suppliers, Super Safe provides for all your special event needs. And Standard Bus Yukon is the official transportation provider of the 2017 championship. From industrial to employee transportation or corporate travel to athletic, use Standard's charter fleet services guarantee safe and reliable group travel. Whitehorse Motors and Budget Truck and Car Rental are the official vehicle supplier of the 2017 WBSC Men's Championship. Visit www.budget.com for the best deals on car, truck, and SUV rentals. Open 7 days a week with airport and in-town locations. Leading off the inning for the United States, Nick Mullins, the catcher, number 7.
8-9-1 for the USA. It'll be Nick Mullins, the catcher. He'll be followed by Chris Heinlein, and then back to the top of the order, Matt Ratliff.
Well, how about that throw from Mullins to get Todd Hunter to end the inning? And how many times do you see after a great defensive play that guy gets the lead off?
And Shales will return next inning with a fresh count instead of an 0-2. Nothing wrong with being aggressive on the bases. Mullins, the catcher out of the New York, New Jersey area, back east. Fouled up and out of play.
We saw that gun down from Mullins. He used to be a catcher, Division I NCAA at University of Pittsburgh. So he used to throw in a little bit further.
Also played some pretty good infield, but I think he has found his niche as he did in baseball.
Well, I know for his club team he plays shortstop, as they've got Rafael Flores does the catching for them. So interesting that he's able to play multiple positions.
And especially those two. Those aren't two that you generally think of. Somebody playing both. Down on strikes he goes.
No, Russell Martin tried to do it for Canada at the WBSC baseball last year, but I don't know. Didn't materialize. 3
strikeouts in the game now for Adam Folkert. Chris Heinlein, the current shortstop for the USA, steps in the 9 spot. First pitch swinging. Fouled up and out of play. Heinlein was the last player added to the USA roster for the 2015 WBSC in Saskatoon. In fact, was not starting the early games and just played himself into a starting role. They had him playing over at second base. They are very high on this youngster.
All you can do as a player in that situation is make it hard for the coach to take you out of the lineup.
Upstairs, taken for a ball.
And he's certainly done that. And you know what? The U.S. are on Adam Folkert, Jim. Only 3 strikeouts for Folkert to this point. Everyone else putting the ball in play.
The ball by Castillo, probably the hardest hit off of him so far, the one off his knee.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you ask Adam, he'd agree with you right now. That's probably still stinging a little bit.
1-2 on Heinlein. Swing and a miss, drop ball.
The thing about Folkert is he can make the ball move at different speeds. He took a little bit off that one as well and got Heinlein out in front. 2 down.
3 strikeouts in a row now for Folkert. That'll flip us back to the top of the order. Matt Ratliff had a good hack in his first at-bat, hit a hard one out to right field. As we said, a good contact hitter. His power typically doubles in the alley.
He singled last night off Australian pitcher Max Montero, who threw 6 innings in the win, a 5-1 win for Argentina over the U.S. last night, which is why keeping this game close and having an opportunity is so important right now for USA. At the same time, though, Jim, you don't want to put too much pressure on this game because it's a long week. You've got 7 round-robin games.
But if you're the USA and you look at that schedule and you see Argentina, Australia, and Canada in order, you know they would like to win a couple or at least come away with one. At this point, with a loss to Argentina, I think they feel like they'll be in the hunt, but they would like to pick off Australia or Canada.
That would certainly make things a lot easier for them.
And Ratliff reaching on a walk.
A 4-pitch walk, not something that you see from Adam Falkard too often.
Well, if you were a prognosticator looking at the pool at the start of this tournament, I think most people would look at it and say Australia, Canada, Argentina among the favorites. In 2015, the USA was on the bubble with Great Britain and the Dominican Republic. So those three certainly in that next group, perhaps.
Yeah, the way it's looking right now, Jim, here at the tournament is that it's going to be the USA and the Dominican Republic in a battle for that 4th spot in Pool A. I think you could pencil Australia, Canada, and Argentina in. Their teams are a little bit above that level.
Down second he goes, sliding in safely, well ahead of the throw. So good speed by the big youngster Ratliff. Great Britain, as we said, was on the bubble in 2015, but they've already dropped one to Botswana. That was a game you think that they felt like they would win.
It's been a tough struggle for Great Britain, and they lost 2 players. They only had 13 when they got here, so it's going to be a tough sled.
Here's Zekman with a chance to tie it. Just downstairs for a ball. Ratliff, as we said, good speed out at second, a big fellow, a good 6'2" or thereabouts, but runs very well. A little slow roller to third. Shales up with it over to Kirkpatrick for the out. Side retired. For the USA, no runs, no hits, a man left. They've had 2 as far as second. We'll head to the 4th right after this.
WBSC Men's World Championship merchandise, from hats to sweaters, t-shirts to duffel bags. Visit the official souvenir booth located in building number 2, just off the grass picnic area.
Top half of the 4th we go. It'll be Nick Shales returning to the plate. He was left standing on the throw out at second that ended the inning. So 3, 4, 5, Shales, Lewis Weldon, and Andrew Kirkpatrick.
That goes without saying, the most dangerous part of this Team Australia lineup. Jeremy Manley pitching into his 4th inning now for Team USA. He's been excellent. The only blemish is that home run from Nick Shales.
So third baseman Nick Shales will step back in, and our home plate umpire Peter Klasinski is going to take another look at the bat. We know they all go through the sticker test and review before the game.
There's nothing that drives players more crazy than the umpires looking at their bats. Manly just continues to throw as Shale's bat being examined. Now we're ready to go.
The game within a game within the game, huh?
3 teams out there.
Upstairs with a rise ball. Shale's the difference thus far. Got a ball out over the plate, drove it out of the park to right center. The only run on the board in this one. Lifted high but shallow. Backing up is Dudley. He'll give way to Ratliff. Matt Ratliff coming on to make the catch. Might have taken just a bit off of that one. Shale's out in front, 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, Nick had to reach across the plate for that ball. He was trying to drive it into right center, much where he hit the home run earlier, but just got under it, and a good job defensively for Matt Ratliff out in right.
Here is Lewis Weldon. Weldon a ground out to short in his first trip to the plate. Drop ball in under the hands.
Weldon is a big piece of humanity, and no surprise that when he gets his frame behind the ball, if he can square it up, it comes off the bat like a rocket.
Choked up just a bit on that one. A hard liner just past Castillo at third, but foul.
Well, the other thing about Weldon, and I talked about if he's able to get his frame behind the ball, he's also so strong with his upper body. You can see right there when you look at him, just a big man. So he's also able to muscle balls through the infield, which is what he nearly did that time.
Well, he would love to get the arms extended. Manley coming inside and up, trying to keep it out of his reach. If you're going to come in on him, it better be down.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't want to leave anything out for him, but you're right. He's choked up here with 2 strikes. Sign of a good hitter.
1-2 pitch. Lifted high and shallow again. It's Dudley. And Heinlein will come on to make the catch at short. So a couple of fly outs quickly for Manly here in the 4th.
And this is a huge part of the order and a big part of the game for Jeremy Manley to manage. He's 2/3 of the way there, getting Shales and Weldon up under the ball. Now Andrew Kirkpatrick stepping in.
Andrew Kirkpatrick steps in, looks at a ball off the plate. The pitching staff for the USA, it's Manley, Mancha, the M&M boys, and the newcomer, Dwayne Weiler, who pitched his way onto the roster in the final weekend over in that Vancouver tournament. Had a good outing against Canada.
Yeah, I must say I'm not familiar with Weiler myself. He hasn't had any mound duty yet this week, but hearing very good things.
Check swing, a little roller. Manley will pick it up, fire over to Palazzo, side retired. Good, quick, crisp inning for Jeremy Manley. 3 up and down for Australia. No runs, no hits, nobody left. To the home half of the 4th we go. Still 1-0 Australia.
Just a reminder again that smoking is permitted in designated areas only, and please use the garbage receptacles and ashtrays located throughout the park. I want to again thank Mizuno for their support of the World Baseball Softball Confederation. Mizuno is an official supplier of the WBSC and the Men's World Championship.
We have a top-notch PA coming your way. She was a lot of her.
And we are in the same part of the order for the USA, 3-4-5, so an important inning for Adam Folkert. Matt Palazzo, he'll be followed by Tyler Dudley and Kevin Castillo.
Castillo with the only hit off Folkert so far today, but as we talked about last inning, they're all on the ball.
Little roller in front of the home plate. They're going to let it roll, and it's going to roll Fair.
It got up on the chalk and then fell back in toward the mound. Credit the grounds crew with an assist on that Matt Palazzo infield single.
Not the hardest hit ball by Palazzo, but he will certainly take it. A big smile on his face down at first base. Any way he can.
You know what, Jim? Good things happen to good people. Matt Palazzo, a great guy, and he gets the benefit from the softball gods right there.
So Palazzo, the potential tying run. Tyler Dudley, the second baseman for the USA, steps out of the box looking down to third. Denny Bruckert, the skipper of this USA team, running through the signs. Kind of a quirky roller over to second. He'll pick it up and over to Kirkpatrick. Looked like it was going to be one of those off the end of the bat spinners, and then it took a clean hop right into the glove of second baseman Brendan O'Byrne.
And Matt Palazzo, the veteran, as he was running towards O'Byrne, he was looking for a fielder interference. Didn't need it. They did touch ever so slightly, but the second base umpire, Yuri Dostal, was right there, said it was okay.
Here is Kevin Castillo. One of the two hits off of Folker today. Went right back up the middle last time up.
And, you know, sometimes, Jim, you just have a good look at a pitcher, and for Castillo, that is Folker. He doesn't mind the ball coming out of his hand. He zoned perfectly in on Adams' hip.
Swing, and he was coming out of his heels on that one. Castillo, good contact hitter, but also very good power. He will surprise a lot of teams.
And you know that in the back of his mind, or maybe even closer to the front right now, he's looking to atone for those errors.
Kevin, a former college baseball player, went on to play college ball after playing baseball at Long Beach Poly, the home of Tony Gwynn, the great Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, sometimes words like great don't do it enough. Tony Gwynn is an absolute legend.
Grounder to second, over to first. It is O'Byrne to Kirkpatrick for the second out. So a pair of ground outs to the right side. Castillo does get Palazzo over to third, and it'll be up to Bryce Kay, the center fielder for the USA, to get him home.
Kay grounded out to O'Byrne in his first time up, just like the last two guys.
Swing and a miss.
Just want to apologize to our folks at home. Our score bug is down a little bit on the top of the screen. It is 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth.
I'll have to pull out my egg timer. Inside, taken for a ball, 1-1.
But our executive producer, I know, is working on it very hard right now next to me, Troy Brown, who's running laps of this facility.
Ball upstairs, taken 2-1. Marcus Tan waiting on deck, but with two out, the runner at third, the game at the plate for Bryce Kay. Downstairs, taken for a ball. Folker with 4 strikeouts thus far. He had 3 in a row down at the 7, 8, 9 part of the order. For some fans accustomed to the double-digit strikeouts. Not that kind of game right now. The USA has been able to put the bat on the ball to some degree.
Denny Brucker with some words for Bryce Kay, a meeting on the mound as well, out of your pitcher. And you don't know if Folker's struggling or if he's maybe pitching around Kay a little bit, wanting to get to Marcus Tan. You never know exactly what the case is.
3-1 is the count on Kay. Off the plate, taken for a ball. You may be right.
I like hearing that, Jim.
Whatever the reason, runners at the corners now for the USA, and Denny Bruckert's going to come out to our home plate umpire, Peter Klaczynski from Canada, and they'll be making a change. Bryce Kay coming back to the dugout.
Yeah, maybe a couple of changes here.
Marcus Tan heading back to the dugout, so it looks like it will be a pinch hitter. Kay has come over and is talking to Palazzo and Mullins, a couple of the veterans on this team, but it looks like he's going to stay at first base, I believe. And we'll wait for the announcement. It looks like number 8 coming in for the USA. That would be Eric Ochoa.
Eric Ochoa.
So the answer to the question, will he play again in the tournament, being answered in a key spot. The question is, how is he feeling and how might it affect his at-bat against Adam Folkard?
Well, these guys are competitors, and I've got a sneaking suspicion that Ochoa is saying, Coach, I am good to go, especially in this part. Let me try it.
Kirk Gibson-esque?
Well, he does have a little bit of a limp out there as I'm watching him. He just walked out of our screen.
Well, here's an interesting development. Ochoa comes to the plate, and Ochoa is being put on some respect for his abilities, regardless of how he might be feeling.
So will they put Tan? Yes, they will. Right back into the game.
So Eric Ochoa, who passed, I'm told, the concussion protocols, came up as a pinch hitter, got a 4-pitch automatic walk, and Marcus Tan making the re-entry down at first. So the bases are loaded, and it is the veteran catcher Nick Mullen with a chance to break this thing open. Folkard needing an out to get out of the inning. Outside edge of the plate, taken for a called strike.
May have been the hardest pitch Adam Folkard's thrown in this game.
He most definitely turned the dial up on that one. Bases loaded for the USA, 2 out. Mullen looks at one off the plate upstairs. The count even at 1-1.
You can feel the tension here at the Pepsi Center.
Center fielder Hayden Matthews shaded just a little bit towards left. Ball upstairs, way upstairs. So the USA with their first real look at this game. Advantage Mullen, 2-1 pitch. Lined into center field, base hit. Coming in to score. 2 runs for the USA. Nick Mullins comes through with a 2-out single. And just like that, the red, white, and blue on top by a 2-1 score.
That is clutch hitting from veteran leader Nick Mullins, who's been doing it offensively and defensively today. Palazzo and Kay around to score, and it's 2-1 for Team USA. And he may have just knocked Adam Folkard out of this game as Lang Harrow comes to the mound.
Well, we talked about the situation with Ochoa, and it seemed to be a very conscious decision by Folkard. He wanted to face a different hitter than Eric Ochoa. That was Nick Mullen, who just delivered in the clutch. Meanwhile, Kevin Castillo will come back out on the 2-out catcher rule as the last available batter. So Castillo now down at first. Runners at the corners, and it's the 9-hitter, Chris Heinlein. Marcus Tan over at third, so it's Castillo and Tan. A couple of veterans from 2015 trying to add to the lead.
Nick Norton just saved that third run with a great pick.
Grounder to short, Todd Hunter over to Kirkpatrick for the out, but not before the USA pushes across 2 on a 2-out RBI single from catcher Nick Mullins. We'll head to the 5th. The USA flips the script on Australia. Australia now trailing 2-1.
funded in part by the government of Yukon. And of course, our volunteer sponsor is Air North, who offer daily flights to Vancouver, as well as regular flights to Calgary, Edmonton, Kelowna, Ottawa, and Yellowknife. Visit flyairnorth.com to book all of your travel.
Top half of the fifth inning for Australia. And we see Andrew Kirkpatrick up and throwing on the sideline, so we'll keep an eye on whether Folkert comes back to the circle. For Australia, it's White, Norton, O'Leary, and if we get that far, O'Byrne. 6, 7, 8 in the batting order. Jeremy Manley has been sharp, the only blemish on his game thus far. The first inning home run given up to Nick Shales. So a little cat and mouse substituting by skipper Denny Bruckert for the USA. Was Eric Ochoa up to swinging a bat in that situation? We'll never know.
Adam Folkert thought he was.
What we do know is that he received the automatic walk. That brought Mullen to the plate, and the veteran catcher delivers in the clutch. Swing and a miss, way late.
But, you know, if you're Team Australia, I think you do that 10 times out of 10 right there. You play the odds. You have a left-handed hitter in Ochoa, a right-handed hitter in Mullins, and Mullins just got the job done. Hats off to him.
I think they've seen enough of Ochoa that, what do they say, you don't let the guy that can beat you. But
100%, yeah.
For the USA, their good fortune, Nick Mullins came through. Meanwhile, Josh White down on strikes. You have to think a shot in the arm for Jeremy Manley. It's a different feeling when you walk to the circle with that one-run lead instead of trailing 1-0.
Well, you know what? Manley has retired now 4 in a row, plus the caught stealing. If you take that back, it's about 8 in a row. So, yeah, it also always feels better pitching with a lead.
A couple of errors and a walk other than the Shales home run. That's been it for Australia. Nick Norton, their catcher from Canberra at the plate. Canberra ACT. Just missing off the plate. Would be a huge win for the USA after the opening night loss to Argentina. Liner to left field. That's going to fall in front of Marcus Tan for the base hit. So a one-out single by Nick Norton.
We put the broadcaster's hex on Jeremy Manley right there.
Kind of you to say we. I think it was me.
Oh, I don't know. I think I was fully engaged in that as well. I'll go down with the ship, Jim.
Liam O'Leary at the plate, the right fielder for Australia. Hit a little roller to Palazzo his first time up. Pretty good duo up the middle with Heinlein, the youngster, and Dudley over at second. They can turn two if they get the opportunity. They would certainly like to see that now. Ball upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike. Change up and a beauty just off the edge.
Well,
2-1.
Good. That looked good. Couldn't entice a swing, though.
Some pitchers don't like to throw it to the 8 and 9. Speed things up, but Manley has had a good one today. Liner right at Dudley. Looks to first, doesn't throw. So the line out to Tyler Dudley for out number 2. And Nick Norton still down at first base. I'm wondering about the 2-out catcher rule, but maybe Norton runs the bases better than most catchers.
Interesting time for a defensive conference here. One of these days we're going to be allowed to mic up the coaches as they go to the mound. I'm very curious as to what that was about with the number 9 hitter O'Byrne coming up.
So it's the 9 hitter, Brendan O'Byrne. O'Byrne caught looking his first time to the plate back in the 3rd. Shows run, doesn't. The ball to Heinlein, over to Palazzo. 6-3 put out, side retired. So Jeremy Manley takes the 2-1 lead into the dugout. To the 6th we go.
For Australia in the top of the 5th, no runs on 1 hit, 1 left on base, and no errors. For your safety, please be aware that during the course of play, softballs can be thrown and hit into the stand. Please be careful as softballs can travel at a high rate of speed. Please do not throw the ball back onto the field of play. Find a volunteer to pass the ball to. Please join us in thanking our official suppliers, Air North, Molson Coors, Home Hardware, Whitehorse Motors, Super Safe Fence Rentals, Patrick Robert's Productions, the Rush 96.1 FM, and Standard Bus Yukon. And also we'd like to thank our community sponsors, the City of Whitehorse, Micmac Toyota, North 60 Petro, Pizza Hut, and Total Track Yukon. Leading off the bottom of the 5th for the United States.
Home half of the 5th inning for the USA. I want to take a quick moment to tip our cap to our Sports Canada TV crew. Behind the dish camera, Jillian Landry, third baseline, Tommy Melanchuk. Center field camera way out under the tent, Elliot Goodyear. The executive producer, of course, Choyal Brown Esquire. And on the controls for this one, director Adam Donnelly. Some great work. Happy to have you enjoying it. Matt Ratliff is at the plate, lifts one down the right field line, giving chase. Second baseman Brendan O'Byrne squeezes it for out number 1.
So interesting, Jim. We focused on Andrew Kirkpatrick getting loose in the bullpen for Team Australia, but it is indeed Adam Folkard back in the circle for the bottom of the 5th inning for Team Australia.
Problem for teams with good hitting pitchers like Kirkpatrick is you can't have them warming up when they are on the field. We did see him up, but I imagine maybe the decision was Adam.
Well, sometimes what you'll see in that situation is the DP come in defensively for Kirkpatrick, so that way you're not using up players, just a defensive change, but they're going to go with their original lineup right now.
It's Darren Zekman at the plate for the USA. Oh for 2 thus far, struck out in the 1st and the grounder for an out back in the 3rd. Third look at Folkard. And he takes a walk. So uncharacteristic control issues for Folkard here in the 5th inning. That'll send a pinch runner out to first for Zekman. Gil Sines will be the runner coming on for Zekman.
A little more speed out there on the base pass. Gil Sines started last night at shortstop for Team USA, coming off the bench here to run for Zekman, the DP.
Very good speed and Sines. Palazzo is the batter for the USA. Palazzo with that 30-foot roller on the chalk line for a base hit last time up. Proved to be an important one, coming around to score the first run for the USA on the Mullins single.
Yeah, little moments in the game. That ball stays fair, and Matt Palazzo ends up being one of the 2 runs scored by Team USA.
Good drop ball on Palazzo on the last one now. Folkard ahead 0-2. Swing and a miss. Off to the races. He's safe at second. Got a good jump. Palazzo swinging and down on strikes. But the USA trying to add that all-important insurance run now with Signs out at second base and 2 out.
Not only can Signs scamper around the bases like we saw there, he's also smooth as silk, slick as an oil spill out there on shortstop. Really an embarrassment of middle infielders for the Americans.
Here's Tyler Dudley, a couple of ground outs, and he lifts one into right field, but it's right at Liam O'Leary for the third out. Side retired for the USA in the fifth. No runs, no hits, a man left, and we go to the sixth. We'll be right back.
For the U.S. in the bottom of the fifth, no runs on no hits and no errors and one left on base. After 5 complete innings, it's the U.S. 2, Australia 1. The Rush 96.1 FM is the official radio station of the 2017 WBSC Men's World Championship. Tune in for all the latest championship coverage or listen online at ckrw.com. Olsen Coors is an official supplier of the 2017 championship, a proud supporter of Yukon's softball community. And Home Hardware would like to welcome all participants to Whitehorse as the official supplier at the only covered lumberyard. Now pitching for the United States, number 11, Tony Mancha.
Top half of the sixth inning and a pitching change for the USA. It'll be Tony Mancha into the circle. Manley with a pretty good outing thus far in the game, but Denny Bruckert electing to go with a fresh arm.
Yeah, Manley just giving up 2 hits. One of them the home run to Shields, the other the single to Norton last inning. 4 strikeouts, and we have a pinch hitter as well for Australia as Ryan Merriman pinch hits for Hayden Matthews.
Mancha did pitch in 2015. The M&M boys, it was Mancha and Muslar in 2015. This year, Mancha and Manley. 6 outs the USA needs. Mancha started last night's game, if I'm not mistaken, with Argentina. He went 5 or thereabouts.
Mancha went 4 innings last night, giving up 4 runs.
Way upstairs, taken for a ball, 2-1.
2 of them were solo home runs off Tony Mancha. Third time through the lineup for Australia, so USA going with the old strategy of showing something different.
Foul tip off the screen. Other than the Shales homer, Australia really not able to square up the ball against Manley.
I thought personally that Jeremy Manley was throwing a whale of a game. You know, he even got around those couple of errors by Castillo. Of course, Castillo helped him with 1. So we'll see if this decision pays off for Team USA.
3-2 count. High and deep down the left field line, but it's going to be foul. Merriman out in front, but pretty good contact on that 3-2 pitch.
Yeah, that was about 285 feet foul down the left field line here, diamond number 1 at the Pepsi Center in Whitehorse.
So a good look there at what Mancha is facing. 3-2 pitch to Merriman. High, taken for a ball. So not what the skipper wants to see.
Looks like they're going to re-enter Hayden Matthews for Ryan Merriman here. So Merriman did his job, and Matthews back out on the base paths.
Todd Hunter 0 for 2 on the day. Ground out to second.
I'm expecting a bunt from James Todd Hunter right here. He's the number 2 batter in the lineup. That's traditionally their specialty. You get the leadoff runner on. It's all about manufacturing a run now for Team Australia. You've got your leading RBI guy on deck.
Certainly anything, they would like to see anything that would put Shales at the plate with a runner in scoring position. So he does show bunt, gets it down, but it's foul. Castillo coming hard from third all over it.
And some people think, well, if you put the bunt down, you get Matthews to second. They may just walk Shales with the base open, but that's where their protection of Lewis Weldon in the cleanup spot comes in handy.
Castillo creeping from third. He shows bunt, pulls back and swings. Comes up empty on the rise ball away. Good pitch, good location by Tony Mancha. Hard grounder to third, over to second, over to first. Double play. Castillo to Dudley to Palazzo. Just like that, 2 outs.
That is the second double play to Kevin Castillo that James Todd Hunter has hit into today. And all things considered, I think Kevin Castillo is on the plus side of the defensive ball as we see Gil Signs in at shortstop now. And Heinlein has moved over to second base for Dudley.
So a conference in the circle. It is Mullins heading out to have a chat with Tony Mancha and others. Not much question what they're talking about, Chris.
Yeah, don't throw it down the middle is what they're talking about right here. Nick Shales is arguably the top all-around fast pitch player in the world. And like you said earlier, Jim, don't let their best beat you. So you can expect Shales to get a diet of nothing right about now.
Ball upstairs. You know, the problem with pitching around him, though, is the one that you mentioned. Right on deck is Lewis Weldon, and only up a run if they put Shales aboard. Then he's got a chance to put his team on top. Comes out of his shoes on that one. Straight back to the screen.
Tony Mancha, no different than any other pitcher in the world in that Nick Shales has a little black book on all of them. And he read that rise ball, just missed it, fouling it back.
Castillo about a step or two behind the bag at third. Way outside.
And that's more what I'd expect for the rest of this at-bat.
Weldon on deck, 0 for 2 on the day. Ground out and a pop-up, both of those Jeremy Manley outs. Time is called by home plate umpire Peter Klaczynski.
Time called once again. Now Langharo's going to come in from third base to see what all the fuss is about.
He had his hand up as if he was trying to hold Mancha up and let Shales get set, or at least into the box. I think that may be what they were talking about. Mancha coming quickly as soon as Shales steps in. Popped up foul and out of play.
Yes, the old quick pitch as that ball goes over to Diamond 2. We're currently Denmark lead Great Britain 2-0 in the third inning, and Great Britain now 11 innings in this tournament without a base hit, Jim.
Tough to win ball games when you do not score.
That is a very tough way to go. Yes, Kyle Linton is throwing very well on the mound for them, but they're just unable to put the ball in play right now.
Well, Mancha not pitching around him, but he is pitching carefully. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out in the inning. Just off the plate outside, 3-2. So advantage Shales.
Mancha hoping Shales will get himself out right now.
3-2 pitch from Mancha. Upstairs, taken for a ball. So Mancha not willing to give in. Shales finds himself down at first base. He represents the potential tying run. And Australia's skipper looks like he may have a move.
might be running for Shales.
That's what I thought.
All I can figure.
Weldon Lewis, or Lewis Weldon, 0 for 2, but the kind of hitter that could put his team on top with one swing of the bat.
He gave him a change, but it doesn't affect the hitter or the runner. So it may be a defensive change coming next inning. Just maybe letting Tony Mancha think about this for a little bit.
I was going to say,
very interesting coaching right now by Australia.
Well, Mancha, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what's going on. Mancha was working very quickly, and if the hitters couldn't slow him down, the skipper sure could. Into right field, but it's going to be foul, about 265 feet down that right field line. 260 all the way around.
Heck of an effort by Matt Ratliff, just getting over there. If that ball was in the park, Ratliff was coming up with it.
So one strike on the big fellow, Lewis Weldon. Shales, the potential tying run at first. Mancha with an 0-1 pitch. And time is called. I think, again, they're the home plate umpires telling him to wait.
Yeah, well, if Mancha is having success, quick pitching, and he can get away with it, more power to him. It's up to the hitter and the umpire to slow it down. And, with, of course, Weldon, he's the leading batter at the World B Division Club Team Championships last year, so a threat, no doubt.
Foul tip, then out of play. Looked like a rise ball in on the hands of Weldon. And same place that Manley was trying to work him, keep it inside, keep it down, keep it up.
Yeah, that's where you want to be. Don't let him extend his arms. It's simple physics, I guess. I was never meant biology, I guess, a little bit too. Never really a scientist, Jim.
I think it's both. 0-2 now on Weldon. Lifted out into left field. It's going to be deep. Diving catch. Marcus Tan.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me now? Marcus Tan may have just saved the win for the USA. And he comes back. You can see from the dugout a lot of high fives all the way around. Weldon looked to have an extra base hit. Marcus Tan fully extended and makes the catch.
From industrial to employee transportation or corporate travel to athletics, standard charter fleet services guarantee safe and reliable group travel. Batting for the United States, the third baseman, number 13, Kevin Castillo.
To the home half of the sixth we go. An outstanding defensive play by Marcus Tan. Saves the USA for the time being. They don't give the gold medals out here for another 8 or 9 days, but I think camera person Jillian Landrigan with a great gold medal shot on that play down in the left field corner. Thank you for sharing that with everyone. Adam Folkert, hopper down to third. It's going to be foul just to the left side.
Yeah, sneaking suspicion that replay shot is going to be on next year's promo video, as Marcus Tan laid out all of about his 6-foot frame and whatever he had in his arm and glove to make that grab.
Shales motioning to the home plate umpire as if to say he thought it was a fair ball down there, but just foul. Castillo now in a hole 0-2. Castillo with a single off the knee of Adam Folkert in the second. Ground out to second base in his last trip to the plate. Still 2-1 USA. They would love to get an insurance run downstairs for a ball. As we said, Folkert struck out 3 in a row at one point, 7, 8, 9. But that was back in the second inning, second and third. Meanwhile, he racks one up here against Castillo, who's caught looking for the first out of the sixth.
Brought that one back in over the inside corner, and that's literally impossible to hit if you're Kevin Castillo.
Impossible to hit no matter who you are. Bryce Kay, the center fielder, will step in with one out. Kay reached on the walk in the fourth. He scored what is now the difference in the game, that second run for the USA. Folkert quickly ahead 0-2. Swing and a miss way late. Down goes Kay. Folkert has turned up the dial here in the sixth. 2 quick strikeouts. And it'll be the aforementioned Marcus Tan to try and help start a rally for that insurance run. It was Marcus lifted for Eric Ochoa back in that fourth inning. Ochoa given a free pass before the Mullins RBI single. The difference so far in the game. Marcus 0 for 1, a swinging strikeout back in the second. Waiting on deck is Nick Mullen. Swing and a miss late on the rise ball away.
Folkert is a little mad the way he's reacted after giving up those 2 runs.
Most definitely the body language shows it, as does the result. Drop ball falls off the table. Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. 3 up and down for the USA, but they need 3 outs for a big win here if they can get it over Australia. If you are an Australian fan looking to their 7th, it will be Kirkpatrick, White, and Norton. We'll be right back with that. Home half or top half of the 7th inning, Australia needs a run. The USA needs 3 outs to close out. Would be a very big win for them in the early going in this tournament. We talked about their schedule, Chris. 3 tough ones right out of the chute.
3 tough ones.
Grounder, a little slow roller. He'll have to hurry. Bobbles it. Can't come up with the play.
And I was just about to say 3 tough outs coming up, and the youngster Heinlein is unable to come up with that bouncer. It's a tough play. Looked like he tried to pick it up and shovel it at the same time. Kirkpatrick with those big long legs gets down the line pretty good. He is going to be lifted, though, for a pinch runner.
Remember, Heinlein started the game at short, yes?
Mm-hmm. Moved over in the 6th inning after Gil Signs came in as a pinch runner.
So Signs entered the game for Dudley, and Heinlein over to second base. Australia with the tie and run aboard, nobody out.
So yesterday's ballpark broadcasting player of the game now with a chance at the plate.
White 0 for 1, walked in the second and struck out. But that was against Jeremy Manley, his first look at Tony Mancha. Castillo creeping, shows bunt, gets it down. Castillo picks it up, clean throw. So White executes well, gets the runner over to second base, sacrifice. USA with the 5-3, Castillo to Palazzo for the out. And that brings to the plate Nick Norton. Norton a strikeout back in the second. And the base hit in the fourth.
Should mention that Julian Jamot is running. He's the runner that came on for Andrew Kirkpatrick.
Rise ball way upstairs. The outfield for the USA, Marcus Tannen left, Bryce Kay in center, Matt Ratliff, or is it in right?
It looks like
Does not.
It's hard to tell from here. That might be Pat
Just
Sagdahl.
off the edge.
Sorry, I think that's Pat Sagdahl out in right field. But the official scores are in a different booth than us. It's really hard to tell. Looks like a 25. Oh, it's 24. So Sagdahl's in center. Bryce Kay's moved to right. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, Sagdahl very good defensively. Off the glove of Mullins, goes to the backstop, and the tying run now just 60 feet away.
Call that a wild pitch on Tony Mancha, and the pressure palpable for Team USA, knowing how important a win would be here and maybe squeezing it a little bit.
So if the pressure was on the USA outfield with him at second, right now the focus at the plate in the infield. High, taken for a ball, 2-1.
Tony Mancha needs a strikeout, Jim. That's all that there is to it. Any ball in play is likely to score that run.
Infield in. Downstairs, taken for a ball. And suddenly new life down in the Australia dugout and in the stands over on the first base side.
We're going to see another runner come on for Australia. Josh McGovern, who caught yesterday's game against India, enters the game at first base for Nick Norton.
McGovern, one of those junior players that has moved up to the open ranks. Good speed down at first. He would be the go-ahead run if Australia can put one in the gap. But first they've got to get the runner home from third. So first and third now. Checks his swing, but in for a called strike. It is Liam O'Leary. Looks down at the skipper, running through the signs. McGovern over at first, looking likewise. Upstairs, taken for a ball. Australia dugout hollering with every pitch, every ball, trying to put a little extra pressure on Tony Mancha. 1-1 pitch, lifted up and out of play over the backstop.
Not sure if it's translating at home. I know we have some microphones at field level, but just the gamut of emotions around the park right now. The Australian bench hopeful, cheering, excited. The United States nervous, trying to hang on. The casual fan just engaged as this has been a great game.
1-2 pitch from Mancha. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Big out for the USA. Big strikeout for Tony Mancha.
I said Mancha needed a strikeout, and he got it. Now with 2 down, the defense, I don't want to use the word can relax a little bit, but certainly can relax a little bit.
Well, they can back up a step or two also. Brendan O'Byrne was the scheduled hitter. Looks like we will have a pinch hitter. Yes. Mark Harris.
Mark Harris,
who I believe is another player from WA out in Perth.
he was not in yesterday's game. To my knowledge, this is his first at bat of the tournament.
Well, for Australia, they would certainly like to make it a big one. Runners at the corners, 2 out. Tony Mancha and the red, white, and blue needing 1 out to close things out against Australia. Australia needing that 1 to stay alive. Just missing inside, downstairs.
Aussie Steelers are looking to steal one here.
1-0 pitch to Harris. Swing and a miss late. Mancha now 1. Lifted foul, giving chase is Palazzo. Diving his hind line. Goes all out but can't get to it. So Mancha ahead 1-2. 1 strike away from maybe the biggest win of his ISF WBSC career. Or save.
Yeah, looking for the 6-out save here, doing it the hard way.
The 1-2 pitch. Lifted foul will set it again. The groans from the Australian crowd. Tying run at third base. Go ahead at first. The pitch to Harris. 1-2. Lifted, a pop-up, and it's going to be out of play again. So Harris doing what he can to stay alive.
To steal a line from the new kids on the block, Jim, he is hanging tough.
Catcher Nick Mullins going to go out and have a quick word with him. Make sure they're on the same page. Mancha pitching ahead, 1-2 count. I imagine telling him nothing close. Advantage Mancha. You don't need to come in with the pitch.
And all this drama on day 2. You've got to love it.
Fouled again. More souvenirs. Mark Harris still battling.
Wonder what his heart rate is right now.
You know, you sit around the whole game, you'll watch a great game underway, and in the 7th inning, you find yourself picking up a bat.
Thanks, Coach. Some guys want this situation, other guys want no part of it. Looks like Harris is the former.
1-2 pitch from Mancha. Upstairs for a ball. Every pitch, the volume and the tension going up just a little bit more. 2s across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Foul tipped. He'll stay alive.
4 or 5 foul balls now for Harris in this count.
Mullins going to rub the ball up, try and rub some of that winning magic on it.
I'm telling you, Jim, that was just a foul ball. Just got a piece of that one.
Deuces Wild here in Whitehorse. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. 2-1 game. Mancha's pitch. Just downstairs, misses for a ball. Dial it up one more notch. Can you take any more?
Josh McGovern will be moving here on the pitch.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch to Harris. Swung on and missed. Mancha with a big rise ball. Strikes out Mark Harris on a 9 or 10 pitch at bat. The USA with a big win after their opening night loss to Argentina. They have beaten one of the teams they need to get to that championship round. An outstanding performance by the red, white, and blue. Jeremy Manley going 5 strong ones. He'll pick up the win. Tony Mancha doing his Kenley Jansen 6-out save.